We have a major update. According to an NBA insider, he reveals why the Knicks traded Donte DiVincenzo. And one of the main reasons was because DiVincenzo was unhappy with playing a reduced role next season. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Why the Knicks traded Donte DiVincenzo in a deal to land Karl-Anthony Towns. It's official. Cat is a Knick. He will be part of our roster headed into next season. And the deal that got him here was the following. The Knicks acquired Karl-Anthony Towns from Minnesota for Julius Randle, Donte DiVincenzo, and a first-round pick via Detroit. There's a lot of other parts and pieces that are moving around in that deal as well, too. Some sign-in trades and things like that just to make the money work, but this is the bulk of the trade. We also have another team involved in this deal in the Charlotte Hornets. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, Ian Begley basically explains why DiVincenzo was traded here. This was a deal that wouldn't happen without Donte DiVincenzo, I'm told. At this point, everybody knows how I feel about the trade. So I'm going to skip that for a second and just focus on Donte DiVincenzo. It was absolutely interesting to hear from Begley that one of the main reasons Donte was included in this deal is because the only way for the Knicks to land Cat was for Donte to be part of that deal. But even though that was the case, is that the only reason? Or is there another reason why Donte was involved in that deal? Well, according to Begley, there is some more to this story. Why Donte? According to Begley, as noted above, the Knicks had long been opposed to including DiVincenzo in that trade. I don't know exactly why they changed their thinking. I can say confidently, though, that DiVincenzo didn't exactly love the idea of playing fewer minutes / a reduced role next season. He was coming off a career year and helped the team win a ton of games when it was shorthanded. I don't think any competitor would be thrilled with taking a reduced role in this situation. Begley continues here by stating, this is just a guess, but I don't think the issue described above played a significant role. He's describing the issue regarding Donte DiVincenzo not liking having a reduced role. Begley continues here by stating he doesn't believe that the way DiVincenzo felt about his role played any part in the Knicks' decision to move DiVincenzo in this deal for Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, they were against moving him for much of the offseason. Maybe the deadline of training camp combined with Randle's looming contract situation and the length of Robinson's absence made the Knicks more motivated to complete this trade and include Donte DiVincenzo in the deal, something, again, that they did not want to do. Major updates here from Ian Begley regarding the Knicks and why they had to include Donte DiVincenzo in this deal to land Karl-Anthony Towns. One thing is certain. If the Knicks do not include Donte in this deal, they do not land Towns. That should show you how much the Minnesota Timberwolves coveted Donte DiVincenzo and wanted him on their roster. That's the first part. Obviously, the second part is what Begley reported about DiVincenzo not liking his reduced role. And I guess I can understand it from a competition level. If you're having the best year of your entire career, you're breaking out, you're breaking the three-point record for the franchise, yeah, you might want to be the starter of the team. And if you're not getting that opportunity or don't even have a chance to compete for the opportunity, that might make you feel a certain type of way. Even though, in my opinion, Donte DiVincenzo coming off the bench, even though he would likely play a slightly reduced role, I think potentially, given what he would do off the bench for the Knicks and his impact, he could have won Sixth Man of the Year. That's how much belief I had in Donte coming off the bench for us. Now, I understand that Begley did mention that Donte DiVincenzo and his feelings about having a reduced role didn't have any factor with the Knicks trading him. But if I'm the Knicks, if I know somebody is unhappy with their role and doesn't want to play the position that they're going to be given on this team, then maybe I want to include them in a deal and move them to a different team. But as Begley mentioned, the Knicks did not want to move Donte DiVincenzo. If anything, Begley reported they tried to hold off on dealing him. They did not want to include him in this deal. They recognize his impact and what he means to this team. And that's all I needed to hear, because that tells me that this deal has more to do with Julius Randle than it has to do with anything else. I'm not sure what happened with the Knicks and Randle, but something had to happen. A conversation must have occurred regarding his contract or something like that, where the Knicks had confidence that if they went into the season with Randle and they ended the season with Randle, he was likely going to leave and go someplace else. And if they had that knowledge and they made this deal in the first place, then I can kind of understand why they had to put this together. I still don't like the fact that they included Donte DiVincenzo in the deal, but if Julius Randle and him staying on this team was the main reason they made that deal and traded for Karl Anthony Towns, and that's the information we come to find out in the next coming days, I'm going to feel a lot better with this trade. Because if we're going to lose Randle anyways, then might as well trade for somebody that we can get right now. Even though I don't like including Donte DiVincenzo in the deal, you don't get Cat without including Donte. And if you're the Knicks, if you know at some point in time down the line, you are going to lose Julius Randle, if you know Karl Anthony Towns is the player you need on this team to pair with Jalen Brunson, and you believe that, and the only way to get that trade done is to include DiVincenzo, if you're Leon Rose and you're in that situation and you're pushed to that level, push comes to shove, you're going to make a decision. And what he did was pull the trigger and land Karl Anthony Towns on this team. Again, as we get more details, we're going to continue to release them and give you updates on each and every part of this story. Now, I do want to mention, no reports are indicating that Donte DiVincenzo himself was pushing for this trade or wanted out of New York or anything like that. Again, it's very natural for competitors to feel a certain type of way when they know their role is going to be reduced because of the good team that they're on. There's really no problem with that. And I have no issue with Donte DiVincenzo feeling that way or expressing that he feels that way. But this goes to show you, every time we see the Nova Knicks or we say the Nova Knicks or we say all of these things, sometimes it may look one way on the surface, but internally, it may not be that way. It may be very, very different. If you notice, all the things that were happening during the offseason with the Roommates show and the podcast and everybody they had on that show, if you notice, Donte DiVincenzo was not part of that. Donte was doing his own thing, his own media at different other places for the Knicks. Now, individually, when you see those things, they don't really mean anything. But after a move like this, when you take all those things individually and you put them together, it starts to add up. You start to see a picture and you start to believe that maybe Donte DiVincenzo wasn't entirely happy to be part of this team and play a reduced role. And if he's going to be happier going to Minnesota or any other team where he's going to be utilized more, then that's good for Donte DiVincenzo, his career, and his future. So I can't be mad at that. I can be mad at the fact that losing a player like Donte DiVincenzo does sting because of everything that he provides for the Knicks. I'm not saying the Knicks don't have other role players that they can add to the roster or even players that they currently have on the roster who can step up during training camp and potentially take those minutes that Donte DiVincenzo could have probably played. Deuce McBride is one of the main players I'm looking at. He stepped up during the postseason last year. And I think with Donte out of the way, it's his time to shine, to come off the bench, and to showcase his ability and everything that he can do. Sometimes with trades comes opportunity. And right now, Deuce has the biggest opportunity in his lifetime to head into next season with an even bigger role than he had last year. Can't wait to see it from Deuce. And as mentioned before, if the Knicks had some type of knowledge that Randle was going to leave this team in the future and they made this deal, I changed my mind a little bit on how I feel about this deal. Because even though I still think they gave up just a little bit too much, if they knew Randle was going to leave anyways, then you know what? You had to make the move. Because the only player that likely was available that Randle was close to in terms of player and skill set was likely Karl Anthony Towns. And if you look at the trade in that aspect, if these details confirm that, It's hard, very hard to be mad at this trade at this point. But what about you guys? What do you think about why Donte DiVincenzo was included in this deal? And as Ian Begley, an NBA insider, did reveal, one of the main reasons could have been that DiVincenzo didn't exactly love the idea of playing fewer minutes / having a reduced role on this team headed into next season. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.